Ladies and gentlemen, is exactly how you needed this Mets team to respond after losing 2 games out of 3 in DC against the sorry Washington Nationals. The Mets finally step up this time in Atlanta. Even in a weekend where you see the weather doesn't look great, it does not matter. For the first time in forever, the Mets look like they have competent baseball to be had there in Atlanta against these Braves. How we doing, everybody? It's your guy Wardy here, and we're back at it with our latest Mets post-game show that I'm so excited to get into because, yes, just a night ago, we were crying and telling you guys all what is everything wrong with this Mets team. But the beautiful thing about baseball is that all it takes is a quick 24 hours of victory to have me getting my emotions all over the place this time for the better, folks. I want to see those W's spam the live chat right here, right now. Do not hold back from doing exactly that, everybody. That is what your guy Wardy wants to see in our latest Mets post-game show presented by our amazing sponsors at SeatGeek. Make sure to utilize our promo code Wardy10. That way you too get 10% off your next ticket purchase, as well as our great friends at Moomoo, the official trading platform of the New York Mets, in which we have a big announcement to share with Moomoo here in just the next couple minutes, everybody. But folks, we have a lot of breakdown in this one. The Mets went on a hit parade, to say the least. 20 hits, 12 runs scored, and if it wasn't for Ryan Helsley looking like batting practice yet again in the 9th inning, this would have been a clear blowout victory for the Amazons. But what if I told you that even with all the great offense the Mets had in this big blowout victory, it was Noel Mlan yet again towing the rubber and showing exactly why this man needed to be called up north of 2 months ago. Miss me with the nonsense that, oh, it's about rookie eligibility. I understand why Stearns waited as long as he did to call up McLean, but he was wrong for doing so. This man could have helped single-handedly win us numerous ball games at least a month and a half ago. But listen, I'm not going to reflect too much about the past. I'm here to talk about the present and the future. What we said yesterday holds true again a day later. If the Mets get anywhere this year, not just in regular season, but postseason especially, it's because they're youngin' and Noel Mlan is going to help pave the way. It's crazy to say this, everybody, but just 2 starts into his young career, Noel Mlan undoubtedly looks like the best starting option the Mets currently have in the rotation. I know that's a crazy statement to make, but if you guys have followed the Mets all season long the way that I certainly have, then you know damn well just how stellar Noel Mlan looked as he dominated this Atlanta Braves lineup. I don't care that the Braves are as bad as they are this season. The reason why I don't care is because the Mets have been batting practice for bad teams this year. The Mets entered this ball game today over 10 games below 500 against teams against teams on the road this year. And against teams below 500, the Mets have had a losing record. The Mets have not played good baseball against bottom feeders this year, nor have they played good baseball on the road. They haven't played good baseball at all for the most part this past 2 months, with the exception of that nice little 3-game here they had a couple days ago that soured there in DC. They had a nice little 3-game sweep there that we saw in San Fran back towards the end of July. Outside that, it's been slim pickings to talk about positivity here in Mets land. But Noel Mlan, absolutely stellar through not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 dominant innings, guys, for the first time in 62 games. And for the first time since June 3rd of this year, a Mets starter not named David Pearson actually gave them 6+ innings of work. I know, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it as well. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what it's like to actually have a starter that looks confident, comfortable, and has the moxie on the mound, mind you, and what was a huge start for him because he grew up an Atlanta Braves fan. So he was out there in Truist, shoving, absolutely dominating against these Atlanta Braves batters, folks. I'm so happy to finally be breaking down what was a balanced victory. Ryan Helsley is absolutely a problem. There's no denying that. I'm missing Jesus Baez more and more by the second. It's a shame how a guy that's known as a closer is not able to transition out of that closer role, yet we're seeing it before our very eyes. Ryan Helsley cannot handle the pressure, at least yet. Will he be able to handle the pressure before the end of the season? I'm really not sure, but I'm here to talk about the positives, because not only are we going to break down the brilliance that was Noel Mlan going 7 dominant innings against this Atlanta Braves squad today, but we're also going to talk about the fantastic offense by this Mets team. You get a hit, you get a hit, you get a hit, you get a hit, you get an RBI, you get an RBI, you get an RBI, you get an RBI. Not only did the Mets Fab Four come to step up today, with the exception of McNeil and Nimmo not starting today as they're still battered, they're going to be back in the lineup sooner than later for this Mets team, but they both need that off day, and so did Luis Torrens after getting beat up in the series finale or so against the Washington Nationals. Thankfully, they're all going to be back soon, so that isn't a concern. And on the same day that you're without your red-hot McClain, you're without your red-hot McNeil, you're without BRAVES, you're without Luis Torrens, and the Mets bats put up a 20-piece of a hit parade, 12 runs scored, and it wasn't just Juan Soto who had himself a 4 RBI game, and Francisco Lindor with a 3-hit game. But folks, you get 3 hits, you get 3 hits, you get 3 hits, you get 3 hits. The Mets had not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Oh my goodness gracious, everybody. The Mets had a total of 5 batters today that hit at least 3 hits, if not more. Take a look at the hit parade along beside me. Brett the Hitman had 4 hits and 6 tries today. Oh my God, is he locked in right now? Juan Soto, a brilliant game at the plate that we saw. Loved what I saw for Beatty, especially against the lefty there early in this one. Cedric Mullins with not 1 but 2 quality doubles in this ball game. And Hayden Senger, who... Mr. Whole Foods himself, and Hayden Senger had as big of a game as you could ever ask from the young backstop. Now listen, we're not expecting any offense ever from Hayden Senger, so the fact he did what he did today to not only have 1 RBI, not 2 RBIs, but 3 RBIs by pulling that baseball to the left side, oh my God, did he look good today. We're going to take that every single day of the week. So much a breakdown in this one, guys. Tyrone Taylor as well just showed exactly why you can't count him out just yet, as he had a quality day there, getting the start over BRAVES and left field as Nimmo deals with that neck stiffness. Top to bottom, the lineup was brilliant, except for the heart of it from Alonso Mauricio. Outside of Mauricio was Vientos there, who also had a quality at bat today as well. Pretty much everybody and their mother actually came out to hit today against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. So you got to be happy about that, everybody. So again, spam those W's in the live chat as you guys chime in live on a replay right now. Hit that like and subscribe on your way in, as we are the #1 Mets post-game show here on YouTube, covering the Mets every single day. Rain, sunshine, day, night, it does not matter. We're here to break down it all to each and every one of you. Help us also, guys, for getting to our next subscriber goal of 35,000 subscribers, as we're going to be giving away a jersey to one lucky subscriber there once we hit our latest milestone goal, as we give away jerseys after every new 1,000 subscriber milestone here on the platform. Thank you. We got Nicholas with a $5 holla. McClain is the truth, but the bullpen needs to wake up. The last 2 innings had me biting my fingernails. I know. Reed Garrett and Ryan Helsley made nothing easy. Thank you so much for the donation. Love you. Appreciate it. Dave with a $5 holla. I want Sprot and Tong called up immediately. So do I. And Brandon Sprot looks like he's going to get the call for as soon as this weekend, if not for that Monday game, in which I will be in attendance this upcoming Monday between the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. We got Juliet with a $5 holla. Please breed out more rookies. The Mets have to. If Noel Mlan is a sign of anything, it's a sign that, folks, it's about time you consider your in-house options. It's about time that you consider the kids, because the kids are thriving. And now that every guy's going to be called up and dominate the way that Noel Mlan has in his first 2 starts, but there's a reason why Brandon Sprot is as heralded of a prospect as he is. There's a reason why Jonathan has more strikeouts than any other pitcher in all minor league baseball this year, guys. There are endless reasons to suggest why both Brandon Sprot and Jonathan should crack the bigs before the end of the season. And with the Mets continuing to not get length from their starters outside of David Pearson and Noel Mlan, it is now time to bring up the kids, give them an opportunity, and see what they can do for the better for this Mets team. Frank Sessa, thank you so much for the donation. Wow, indeed. Pat with a $5 holla. The Braves suck and the Mets bullpen sucks. Give me a hell yeah. Both things can be true. A 1, a 2, a 3. Hell yeah! Love to see that, Pat. Thank you for the dono. We got our guy B with the $2 holla. Great member. I was delivering mail and somehow got on base. That's hilarious. Thank you so much for that donation. Literally everybody and their mother got on base today. Maybe your grandpa too. You got to go ahead and double check. Dave with the $5 holla as well. Helsley stinks. They should not re-sign him. The Mets are not going to re-sign Helsley at this current rate. That goes without saying. We got Narvaez with the $2 holla. It was a hit parade. McClain electric. Bullpen, what the F? 100%. We got my guy Joe with the $2 holla. I miss Jesus Baez, LFGM, GG, Nolan. Nolan was tremendous indeed, everybody. Thank you guys kindly for hitting that like and subscribe on your way in. Dave with another $5 holla because he's in disbelief just like I am. Yes, Brett Beatty had 4 hits today. I know it's hard to wrap our heads around that, but it's a fact, folks. But guys, we were 10 minutes in this one. AJ, this is how I do my content. If you don't like it, it's fine. Just get out of here. We're going to be fine without you, I promise. Thank you so much for the view nonetheless. I am absolutely going to be not necessarily just yelling, but excited. I'm excited because after being down the dumps, as depressed as I was yesterday, as emotionally erratic as I am, just like all you Mets fans watching this live on a replay right now, as the same way that I can't contain my emotions when I see a man on the bump looking as effortlessly dominant since a guy like Jacob deGrom. Let's call spade a spade, everybody. When was the last time you said in confidence that the Mets had an in-house starting pitching option that they called up themselves that looked this good this early? We've seen the flashes with Tyler McGill when he first got the call. We've seen the flashes with David Pearson. But Nolan McLean looks like he's not only supposed to be here, but this man looks like he very well could be the ace for this rotation should everything continue. I understand. Key context. Just 2 starts in. I'm getting way ahead of myself. But guys, when I saw him sword Matt Olson the way that I did today, on one of the nastiest curveballs you're ever going to see down and in, I said to myself right away, I tweeted out, you got to extend this man. This is absolutely the type of starter that I could see the Mets extending early to make sure that they lock down even their pre-arb years. They go down such a route. Let's go ahead real quick, everybody. Let me go ahead and focus my camera real quick. Let's go ahead and do that. Love to see it. Keith with the $5 holla says the following: love the win and the bats. Even Mullins coming alive, but Helsley and Garrett are concerning. McLean lays challenger for other starters. Yeah, McLean has been amazing. Goes without saying. But yes, we do know that there's a problem when it comes to both Garrett and Ryan Helsley. Those are the weakest points, the weakest links of this bullpen. And mind you, Ryan Stanek didn't get DFA'd yet. He's still in this bullpen too. So you got 3 guys that are far from reliable right now, which is frustrating because the whole point of why David Stearns bolstered this bullpen at the deadline was to make it arguably one of the best in baseball. Since then, the Mets have done nothing to prove that that bullpen is as dominant as what it was prior. Yes, Gregory Soto has 9.1 dominant shutty innings for the Mets thus far, and he's been great. Tyler Rogers hasn't been as great as we've hoped. He hasn't been a huge liability, but we also know that he has not looked nearly as sharp as what you hope for a guy who, mind you, entered the fold with the Mets here with a sub-2 ERA this season and has been an anomaly of a pitcher because he's a submariner. Then you have that with Ryan Helsley, and Ryan Helsley has unfortunately been batting practice every single time out there. They got to get it figured out and fast because, again, if the Mets want to do anything this year, if they want to build an identity, they want to actually get something cooking here, they need to make sure that they're balanced on all these fronts, and they have yet to do so. But enough of me yapping, everybody. Let's let it rip as we always do. After every big victory throughout the course of the 162, everybody, we got to let it rip with the one, the only, the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. And yes, folks, you know why I told you back a month and a half ago that I'm bringing the Rally Lobster back home with me? I haven't shown the Rally Lobster since I came back home, but it's in my possession. If you guys don't know the inside joke, let me enlighten you. This lobster, I had abundance of lobsters in my background when I was out of town on vacation for a little bit, and you guys were asking about them, and the Mets were on a heater when we had the lobsters in attendance, so I brought one back with me, but the Mets have been on a losing snide for the most part because I haven't showed the lobsters yet. We need to get something stupid and goofy going. We're going with the Rally Lobster, everybody. Enjoy it with me, and now let's let it rip as we always do once more with the one, the only, the official WardyNYM Win Edition post-game jingle. Let's go, baby. Let's do this.
Postgame. Postgame. Calling all Met fans, come and join us now. Talk about this game and gonna break it down. It's Mets Postgame.
Shout out to my guys Greg and Jordan, as always, with the WardyNYM post-game jingle. It's supposed to not make sense. It's supposed to be all over the place. That's what makes it fun here on the platform. Whether you love it or hate it, it's here to stay, everybody. Thank you so much for spamming that like and subscribe on that way in. We got Dave with a $5 holla, states the following: need to call up a reliever too. Anyone is better than Stanek. Wardy, you and I are better than Stanek and Helsley. I know the bar's low. Dave, I know you can go out there and pump the gun, and I know I can throw at least 50 miles per hour of a meatball, but the difference is that I'll be able to bolt so fast with that ground out that I'll be able to get there to first. Something that we've seen these Mets pitchers struggle with, i.e. Kodai Senga in particular. I promise I'm not going to pull anything. I might pull something when I get excited after the game because I'm happy that I did a play, and then that's how I'm going to cramp a hammy or something. But bolting to first on a ground ball, I'm going to get there. I'm going to make it happen, and my short ass is going to dive out and make sure that he is, in fact, out. The little things our guy Wardy will do to make sure that we could step up for this Mets team, right? Mario with a $5 donation. Mets saw urinating tree replying the Washington loss was like, hell no, meet the Mets 2025 edition. If you know, you know. Yes, urinating tree, good buddy of mine. Hope he's doing fantastic. What a beauty and a yinzer he is. Eric with the 279, 1-0 in the lobster era. Again, we got to get it cooking. Spam the lobsters in the live chat, everybody. We got to get something cooking. Again, it doesn't need to make sense. It can be silly as all hell. But the same way that the Mets finally had a blowout victory is the same way that we finally have to start to get something silly going here. Because there's been nothing silly with the vibes this year. You had endless options of silliness last year throughout the course of the summer, excluding Mr. OMG. Between what you got there, obviously, in Grimace, earlier in the year in Rally Pimp, and all the other aspects of the club, we need to get something beyond that silly little chancla. I know they love the chancla in the dugout, but it hasn't been working, all right? We need to get something cooking here. I think the lobsters are going to be exactly that. So, guys, one final thing that I got to let rip before we break down this ball game is, one, again, make sure to check out our great friends at SeatGeek. Now, I do implore you guys to make sure to utilize our promo code WARDY10. That way you too get 10% off your next ticket purchase for Mets tickets, concert show tickets, comedy show tickets. NFL season's right around the corner. Get some tickets in on that should you guys have interest, everybody. And listen up as we have a really big announcement to get into regarding the following and Moomoo, the official training platform of the New York Mets. Listen up, folks.
Mets fans, do you want to win free Mets tickets to an upcoming home game where you can hang out with yours truly there? Well, listen up, because all you need to do is become a new Moomoo customer. First, do the obvious, and that is downloading the Moomoo app, and you guys can do that with my unique link or the QR code that you see right beside me. And it's so simple as just signing up and depositing at least $1. Then in the Moomoo app, search Mets in the search bar and go to the Moomoo Monday home screen. Then all you have to do is claim your free ticket, and then you're going to take that to the Mets ticket booth there. That's third base side outside there at Citi Field. Go up and show them your Moomoo Monday voucher there in the Moomoo app. And that's it, everybody. You're set then to enter Citi Field and hang out with your guy Wardy, as I will be in attendance there for a watch party hangout there with all my Moomoo friends there in the community. And that'll be for August 25th, this upcoming Monday game between the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. Hope to see you guys there. Let's go, Mets.
All right, folks, you heard it. You can hang out with your guy Wardy this Monday there in our awesome Moomoo section that we have at Citi Field, guys. And all you need to do is the following steps I just relayed. It's linked down below in the description. You can scan the QR code while watching the live show right now into our replay viewers. The same applies, everybody. Want to hang out with me this upcoming Monday when that very well could be Brennan Sproat's MLB debut against the Philadelphia Phillies? Might be batting practice. Either way, we're going to have a great time, because even if the Mets lose, you're going to see your guy Wardy live in real time along next to you, ranting his absolute head off there in our section. I'm going to get my laptop and everything set up to make it happen. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to be doing a live show more than likely there from Citi Field itself this Monday, August 25th, between the Mets and the Phillies. What's going to be an absolutely massive series to figure out what's happening there in the NL East, as well as what's happening with the Mets and their playoff chances here at the Big 2025. Thank you guys again for checking that out, and I cannot wait to see so many amazing Mets fans there to hang out for our watch party setting there live from Citi Field itself there this Monday, August 25th. Now, guys, let's get into this. And again, please make sure to check it out should you have interest. We're only doing this for this upcoming Monday. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do another Moomoo Monday with you guys, so get in on that while you still can. Pat Benson with the $5 holla. Stay away from, I'm not going to say that, but Blank Park had to wait over an hour to use the outhouse. I'm very unfortunate here. But yeah, I mean, I'm never going to go out my way to head to Atlanta for a Braves game, but listen, if I do get the opportunity to attend there at some point to see my Mets, I most certainly will. But good to know now going further. Wardy never asked, but let's hit the like. I appreciate that a lot, Max. If you guys could smash that like and subscribe button for your guy, help us get a 300 plus likes to our live and reoccurring viewers. It would really mean a lot, everybody. And thank you guys kindly again for doing exactly that. Guys, I'm so giddy right now. I'm obsessed with Noel Mlan. It goes without saying. We have been so down low when we look at the options of quality the Mets have had in their rotation this year, that when they finally get a semblance of excitement, when they finally get something to say, oh my God, not only does this kid look great, but he's a homegrown talent, mind you, you have to be excited about that. And you want to know who we sincerely have to thank for making this happen more than anything? It's the man who drafted Noel Mlan. And no, it's not David Stearns. It is, yes, Billy Big Bucks. Billy Epler, what a dog. Say what you will about Billy Epler, guys, but he did a lot of things right for this Mets team in a very short period of time. Billy Epler is the reason why guys like Noel Mlan and Jonathan exist in the Mets organization. So before you go out and say that, oh, Epler didn't do much for this organization, guys, you just weren't paying attention enough. He had some phenomenal draft picks that we saw. He made some sneaky trades, headlined by Brooks Raley. We won't talk about the Vogelbacks, the Tyler Naquins, and the Darren Ruffs of the world. We can flush those down the drain. But while no one's perfect, we got to give some Billy Big Bucks some credit here, everybody, because Epler's impact on this Mets team is very much so true now, even with him no longer a part of this organization. I think that definitely needs to be noted. Let's get into this. I got another donation or two to answer, and then let's rapid fire break down this ball game because a lot of awesome things happen in this one. We got my guy Peter with a $5 holla. Thank you so much. He says, I never seen a bullpen like this. They do everything in their power to not improve. 5 runs and they're playing their roles. I don't know. It's a franchise curse. I don't know if it's just a franchise curse. This is just a natural frustration because your bullpen is not getting anywhere close to your initial expectation. Really, really frustrating. I wholeheartedly agree. And I do agree that until the Mets get that rectified as well, we have no clue as to how everything's going to go on a game-by-game basis. That's why we have to appreciate this victory for what it is, because who knows? The Mets might lose their next 4 games after today. They might go on an absolute winning streak. They might dominate and be the hottest team in baseball starting tomorrow for the remainder of the season. We're just not going to know until we know. But if there's one thing I can say, and then we're going to break down this ball game, everybody. I'm going to rapid fire, also shout out all of our live members as well here in a second. Then we're going to break down in depth what you need to know about this amazing 12-7 victory, everybody. We have to make sure that we acknowledge something that was different about this Mets offense today. Regardless of the fact that they had batting practice because you got bums pitching for the Atlanta Braves at this point in the year, no doubt about it. It was a lopsided pitching matchup for sure. But how many games this season and in years past have the Mets rolled over and died when facing a lesser opponent pitching-wise? It's like, oh, a no-name guy or a guy that's not supposed to perform well, and he casually goes 6 or 7 strong innings against this Mets team. What I see right now from this offense today in particular was a team that actually showed a level of identity. A team that was not only going gap to gap well, a team that was running the bases very well, and a team that did not even hesitate for a second to get out to the early lead and make sure that they continue to tack on. This Mets team, what has been a huge problem for them has not only been the lack of identity that they've had this year, or lack thereof rather, but it's also this mentality that as soon as they face some level of adversity, they have no clue how to handle it. This team was rock solid and locked in from the start of it. If you exclude, again, Reed Garrett and Ryan Helsley and what they did terribly today, then you know very well that Noel Mlan was the star of the show pitching-wise, and that was that. We're going to break down McLean's brilliant outing here in just a second, everybody, but I want to hear from you guys later on the show. Let the thoughts start to marinate in your head now. Don't give me an answer yet, but I'm going to ask you guys a little bit later in the show on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade Noel Mlan's final line today? Because, guys, I'm getting to talk about Mr. Cowboy Ohtani himself and Mr. Mlan. Now, let's get into this. Let's shout out our guys and Dave Kaplitz, great member as always. Drop 5, my dog, great member, moderator. Mr. Delightful, great member. How are you? Happy to have you in here. Rebecca Walsh, great member as always. Karen Marino, great member. How are you? Thank you so much for taking the time. Going up the list here, we got Julia Hawkins, great member. Gorilla, great member. Landon with the $5 holla. I live in North Florida, going to my first ever Mets game Sunday. Hopefully the boys can win it for me. I pray they win it for you, my guy. I really do. I really, really do hope that's going to be the case. Fingers crossed. They took game 1 there in Atlanta. They just got to continue the pace. That's what they got to do, everybody. As we continue on from here, everybody, we got Tito, great member in the chat. PB9, great member and friend, as always. Happy to have you in here. All you guys, all of our live members and reoccurring viewers, Eric Douglas, as well as in the chat, Jersey XX1122, great member. Happy to have you in here too. All you guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. The Mac Dodd as well. If I miss anybody, please know it's not personal. I'm just doing the best I can. When we got 5,000 people in here concurrent in the live chat. Everyone watching, if you have certain comments, questions you want me to answer, hold them until after I break down the ball game, because it's going to be a lot easier that way versus me not seeing your comment and then potentially never getting to it before the ball game actually ends. Not ball game, but my breakdown of the ball game, if you will. So guys, without further ado, let's break down this masterclass of victory. And when I said 20 hits, I lied. The Mets actually had 21 hits in this one to just 10 of the Braves. But the Braves managed to score 7 runs on 10 hits. Why? Oh my goodness gracious. Ryan Helsley's why. Ryan Helsley is a 4.15 ERA right now. Easily the worst ERA and worst season he's had in the past 5+ years. Like, it's not even funny. And mind you, Helsley wasn't even bad when the Mets acquired him this year, but just over a 3 ERA for him at that point was his worst numbers statistically in the past 5+ seasons. So the Mets were already getting Ryan Helsley at his worst for what his usual norms are. And then he comes in and has no clue again how to handle non-save situations to save his life. He's looking so much like Edwin Diaz 2021. Edwin could not handle non-save situations or back-to-back days to save his life. Save outings, he was okay. But outside of that, had no clue what he was doing. We saw that in other years with Edwin as well, so we're not forward to this. It's just a shame to see it happen in real time when we need Ryan Helsley to be the guy that he most certainly is not being for this Mets team right now. But guys, as this ball game happened, the Mets got offense early. They did not score in the first, but they got a little taste of something, and that was a nice extra base hit, a 2-out double for star-studded Starling Marte to kick off the ball game there with his 12th double of the year there, but that's all she wrote. Steph, thank you so much for the $2 haul. I really do appreciate that, my guy. It's Steph for Steve in the chat just because the name is slightly cut off from what I'm seeing right now, but thank you so much nonetheless. I really do appreciate that. In the bottom of the first, everybody, we did see a clean inning of work there for Noel Mlan. Funny enough, he actually hit Jurickson Profile right away. He slid off the mound. It was a complete accident, but he looked like he had the yips right away, but he settled down and that's fine. He promptly struck out Matt Olson on a curveball so disgusting down and in that literally everybody and their mother is going to be sorted with that kind of pitch. The guy was unbelievable with that strikeout. Then you get the Ronald Acuna ground out, and then a Michael Harris strikeout, and that does it. Clean inning of work there for Noel Mlan through 1. In the second, we would see the Mets again start attack on offense. It's a Mark Vientos strikeout. It's a Brett Beatty single. It's a Tyrone Taylor single. The Mets bomb the order, came to play big time today. Steven, thank you so much. Again, really do appreciate it, brother. You're a beauty. Tyrone Taylor gets on, so there's 2 on, less than 2 out for Cedric Mullins. Mullins would fly out. So, okay, guys, it's 2 outs, runners on. Can Hayden Senger do anything to be competent? And he does! Hayden Senger pulls himself a single to the left side, and the Mets are quickly up in this ball game 1-0. Listen, getting early leads has been far from the problem for this Mets team that we have seen over a good stretch over the past number of weeks, if not a month now. The problem has been is that in almost every single one of the games in which the Mets have had an early lead, they've blown it and they've lost the games. That is what's been so frustrating and disheartening about their forms of losses, because they've had offense and a lot of them early. Almost all of them, as a matter of fact. But what they do towards the end of the ball game is a different discussion. Today, they figured it out. Hayden Senger with that RBI makes it 1-0. Then a Lindor walk later and a Juan Soto walk later makes it 2-0 because bases were already juiced for Juan. And you know Juan is not going to hit a grand slam. He has yet to do that this season. Yes, I'm challenging Juan to prove my ass wrong and to finally hit a home run of 3 runs or a grand slam. That's all I'm asking before the season ends. You're on pace to have 40+ home runs like you did last year. You're on pace to have a yearly similar season to what you did last year, but your runners scoring position numbers are dreadful in comparison to what they were throughout your career norms. That's what we need to see change, Juan. If you can do that, then you will be completely as advertised of why we signed you to $765 million of a contract. Soto makes it 2-0. That does it for the inning. And the bottom is second, everybody, a 1-2-3 for Noel Mlan. Why? Because he's a bulldog. That's why. And the third, Pete Alonso with a leadoff single. Brett the Hitman with a double, his 10th of the season there, everybody. Mind you, what was impressive about this double? Way over the head there of Harris. I don't know why Harris' second was thinking, but he played way too shallow on this ball. Brett Beatty, who's been looking fantastic with his bat as of late, and we're going to break down more about Beatty later on the show here. He puts runners in scoring position with just 1 out there for Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins, what does he do? Said he casually hits his first triple of the season. He drives in a pair with 2 outs eventually. Cedric Mullins puts the Mets up 4-0 early in this ball game. All you guys have been crying to me saying, Wardy, Cedric Mullins is a bum. He's not looking good. When is he going to figure it out? And I've told you guys, Mullins is a league average bat who obviously is a strong defender, a noodle arm, but a strong defender and a very good base runner. You're going to get your flashes of brilliance from Mullins. Give it time. He's in the bottom of the order for a reason, batting the 7, 8, 9 area. And what does Mullins do today? When, mind you, he was batting 8th, he thrived today. And that's what you love to see, because Mullins eats up lefties for breakfast, because the starter that the Mets initially faced to begin this ball game was the schmuck and Mr. Wentz, who of course is throwing from the left side. So Mullins, his first triple of the year, that puts the Mets up by 4. And my question to everybody watching this live and on a replay right now is, what are your thoughts on Cedric Mullins now after having a strong game like this, but quietly, slowly but surely putting up solid offensive numbers. I know Mullins has not been groundbreaking since the Mets have acquired him, but for what he's supposed to be for this Mets team, I think he has pretty much been as advertised. There's nothing about him that I really said, like, oh my God, the guy's dreadful or he makes no sense to be here. No, he does make plenty of sense to be here. And he does, it most certainly is an upgrade over Tyrone Taylor, because Tyrone Taylor's floor is far worse than Cedric Mullins. Tyrone finally realized that he actually has a bat in his hands and can hit a baseball today, but that took Tyrone Taylor what feels like at least a month and a half to finally figure out again. He pulled a Harrison Bader from last year. If you don't know the context there, Harrison Bader completely fell off a cliff with his offensive production in the second half last year, and Tyrone Taylor bested him to ultimately win that job on a daily basis down the stretch heading into postseason play. As we continue on, everybody, in the bottom of the third there, Nacho Alvarez, what a name. He gets on with his 6th double of the year there, and then Jurickson Profar pokes a single to make a 4-1 Atlanta, but that's all she wrote for the inning. That's okay. Noel Mlan gets out of that, but not before it's now a 3-run deficit for Atlanta. A half inning later, Francisco Lindor leads off the inning there with a single. Then he promptly steals his 21st bag of the year, a day removed from Lindor snapping the Mets' 39 consecutive stolen base streak. He would get right back on that high horse today. Juan Soto rips himself a single, and runners are at the corners for star-studded Starling Marte at DH today. What does Marte do? He rips himself a sac fly like the grizzled veteran that he is. He makes it a 5-1 ball game for the Mets here, everybody. And then we would see Eric Fetty come in, a guy that I initially wanted a year and a half ago when Stearns initially wanted him coming back from the KBO. Unfortunately, since being traded from the White Sox to the Cardinals that we saw at last year's deadline, Buddy's been batting practice again. Now he's with the Atlanta Braves because they just need an arm in there to just eat innings for them. And thankfully, with 2 outs, Mark Vientos says, I'm going to eat that up for breakfast. Vientos smokes his 16th double of the year, everybody, and he rips that to the right side, mind you. So Vientos pulled a couple baseballs yesterday. Fast forward today, he's going oppo for power again. I love it. I do not like Mark Vientos poking a little soft singles opposite field, but I love Mark Vientos smoking baseballs opposite field the way that he has as of late, guys. And this is why Mark needs to be in the lineup every day. While I don't like Mark Vientos batting outside of the third base position, I want him at DH every single day. I cannot beat that drum enough. I am encouraged by the fact that Vientos was fine today for the most part, and the bat was yet again getting the job done with at least one quality hit for this Mets team that made it a 6-1 ball game. That was 100 miles per hour off the bat there for Mr. Vientos. Brett Beatty then gets on with a single because he's the hitman. Of course he gets on. And Tyrone Taylor said, let me get in on the parade a bit more. Tyrone smokes his 14th double of the year, everybody. That makes it at the time in this ball game a 7-1 Metropolitan lead. From there, Cedric Mullins gets on there with a walk, and then Hayden Senger grounds out because you guys got to realize Hayden Senger can't be our saving grace every single time he goes up there. He won't be more than once in this ball game, which is great, but not yet, and we'll get to that very shortly. Ronald Acuna Jr. smokes his 15th home run of the year there to begin the bottom of the 4th off of Noel Mlan, and this was, again, initially a solid at-bat between the two. What do we see? Pitch number 6, a sweeper right down the pipe. It's easy to hit home runs for a guy like Acuna, the former MVP, when you get meatballs down the pipe. McLean's going to learn from that one. He just did not hit on his location. It happens. He gets the pass because Buddy was otherwise brilliant today. It was roughly 430 feet there for Ronald Acuna Jr., and that made it a 7-2 ball game. After a Michael Harris ground out, we would see Marcell Ozuna ground out and Drake Baldwin ground out. So yeah, ground outs galore for Noel Mlan there in the 4th inning, keeping it a 5-run lead for this Mets team. As we get to the 5th inning, everybody, we would see Francisco Lindor yet again with another leadoff single. And what I love so much about another big inning for the leadoff man in Lindor is that he got on not only with a single, but legged it shortly. Initially, at least, he was legging it into a double. He would steal his 22nd bag of the year and his second of the game, and he would go from second to third thanks to the fantastic throwing error there by their catcher, their young rookie phenom, and Drake Baldwin. That would allow Lindor to get all the way to third base, and now Juan Soto, yet again with a runner in scoring position. What does Juan do? The same thing that he did earlier in this ball game, and that was get on there with a walk. Runners are out the corners, everybody. What do the Mets do? They actually leave them stranded, which is crazy to say. Mets would not score that inning, but they would score more later on this ball game. President with the $2 holla. Hopefully an NLCS rematch happens. I pray it happens. I really do. Thank you so much for that donation. Right now, we're closer to the Dodgers and the Mets matching up to begin the wild card than it would be anything else, which I don't love to see at all. Pat with the $2 holla. Can I teach Mets Nation the middle finger chop? You could do whatever you want. That actually sounds pretty self-explanatory, but I'm I'm for it. You know what I mean? You know how the Atlanta Braves have the chop? Let's just give them a nice fat middle finger as our version of the chop as we're doing the same motion. I don't hate that idea. Don't hate it at all. As we get to the 6th inning, everybody, Tyrone Taylor with a 1-out single. Cedric Mullins then with another single. 2 on, 1 away for Mr. Hayden Singer. Hayden Singer, what's Hayden going to do this time? He grounds into an inning-ending double play. But that's okay. Again, beggars can't be choosers. We're not going to get key production every time out there, but we would get more before this ball game ends. And then bottom of the 6th, everybody, it's a 1-2-3 for Noel Mlan, the first pitcher since June 3rd, not named David Pearson, to actually do this thing called get through the 6th inning. As crazy as that is to say, this is how bad the Mets rotation has been, guys. They have provided no length, and they've drove me and you absolutely nuts throughout good stretches of the season. Now, Noel Mlan's through 6 beautiful innings, and the best part, he wasn't done yet. Before we get there, though, Francisco Lindor kickstarts the 7th, guys. Francisco Lindor, insane game today. The true leadoff man that everyone would be hoping for. A leadoff double to begin the 7th inning. His 3rd leadoff hit of the ball game, mind you. And Juan Soto says it's time to put the nail in the coffin. Soto hits one. It's high. It's far. And it is gone. A 357-foot bomb that just got out there in opposite field. 99 miles per hour off the bat there against Eric Fetty. And it is now a 9-2 Mets lead as Juan Soto smashes his 32nd home run of the year and is on pace to have his career high in home runs as he did a season ago with 41. No Juan Soto today. Love to see it, everybody. Soto actually hit with runners and score. I can't even say actually, yes, I can, because Lindor was at second base. He did technically hit with runners in scoring position there. We're gladly going to take that. As we continue on, folks, in the bottom of the 7th inning, we would see Drake Baldwin with a 1-out single, a 2-out single, but that's all she wrote. And that does it for Noel Mlan's final line, folks. Take a look at the brilliance along with me. We were spoiled yet again with another dominant Noel Mlan outing. And as I said yesterday, I'm looking forward to seeing what Mlan can do. How much of a needle mover can he really be, though, is what I've been questioning. Because, again, it's not a one-man sport. There's no I in team. Mlan can dominate, but it doesn't mean the Mets are a lock to win by any stretch. However, Mlan's dominance and his comfortability, more than anything, I really feel like resonated so well with this Mets offense early. I think they knew that they actually had comfortability with Mlan on the mound, that they can just go out and rip the way that they want to rip. So for all those reasons, I'm really, really happy to see Mlan have as dominant of an outing as he did. And when we expand on Mlan's arsenal, everybody, he threw the kitchen sink. He had 6 pitches working today, had that sinker that he threw 31% of the time, topped out 97.5, and sat right around 95 on the gun, and sat right around 2100 on the RPMs. The sweeper, 21% of the arsenal, one of the nastier pitchers in all of baseball. That sweeper's gorgeous when it's right. Topping out 88 and sitting right around 86. Max, we saw 3100 on the RPMs, and he sat right around 2900, giving me nice Seth Lugo vibes of an RPM spin rate king here at Mr. Noel Mlan. His four-seam fastball that he utilized 16% of the time tonight. Topped out again right around 97.5. Sat 96, though. Topped out also on the spin rate at roughly 3,400 and sat just under 33. And sat just under 2,300 and almost topped out there at 2,400 is what I meant to say. The curveball, this is where the spin rate just doesn't make any sense. This is why Matt Olson, looking as stupid as he did earlier, makes a lot of sense when you understand the context here. Because you say to yourself, and my girl said to me right away, babe, why did he swing at that pitch? I don't understand. It was such a bad pitch to swing at. And I said, it wasn't a bad pitch to swing at. It was a gorgeous pitch, as a matter of fact. And it was so deceptive that is what made it look as silly as it did. A gorgeous pitch down and in. Of course, Olsen shouldn't have swung at it. But the point is how deceptive that is with the spin rate is what makes it so exciting. With a curveball, 15% of the arsenal today, everybody. Topped out 82, sat 80. Listen to this on the RPM spin rate. Listen. 3,400. And he sat 3,300. Disgustingly good, if you ask me. The cutter at 9% of the arsenal, topped out 93, sat 91, and the spin rate maxed out at right around 2,600 and sat right around 2,500. Then we look at the changeup, 9% of the arsenal as well. He threw it 8 times today. Topped out 90, sat right around 86, and wasn't nothing crazy on the spin rate because, again, it's a changeup. You're not looking for spin there. So, guys, Noel Mlan, 7 dominant innings of 4 hit, 2 earned runs, 0 walk, 7 strikeout ball. Now has a 1.46 ERA to begin his young career throughout 2 starts. I am giving without hesitation. Noel Mlan gets a firm, a rock solid 8 out of 10 from your guy Wardy today. Mlan was brilliant. And the only reason why he doesn't get a 9 or a 10 is because he could have maybe went the 8th inning. He could have went the 9th inning. Maybe he could have given us a complete game shutout or a no-no. I got to make sure there's some wiggle room for greater outings than this. But guys, this is as good as you could possibly ask from a guy like Mlan today. He gets an easy 8 out of 10 from your guy Wardy. Let's see. Wardy is too happy for I might be too happy, but you know what? I think I'm happy today more so because of just how depressed I've been from that National Series and knowing that, listen, I'm emotionally erratic. I make it abundantly clear here. I am a content creator. I cover the Mets for a living. I'm very grateful for having such a large following that is always diehard and is here every single night. But don't get it twisted. I'm a fan first and foremost. And I think that's why you guys like the content to a degree, right? I feel like I can relate. I can be relatable to some, if not the majority of you guys watching this right now. Maybe I'm a bit more erratic than you emotionally. That's fine. But I'm all over the place with my emotions, right? I live and die with this team. So when the Mets play dog water baseball consistently, I'm going to lose my mind. The same way that when the Mets play well, and your top pitching prospect, arguably, Noel Mlan, shows exactly why you should have instilled some level of confidence that the Mets might be able to figure out things to a degree this year. Of course, I'm going to be acting jovial about it. Of course, I'm going to be acting like a kid in a candy shop because we haven't had these kind of victories with this kind of pitching performance all that much this season. I feel like I can easily count on my hands right now the amount of games this year that the Mets comfortably won ball games for the most part, even with the bullpen doing everything in their power to blow it later on this ball game. Noel Mlan, what a beauty, what a dog, rock solid 8 out of 10 from your guy Wardy. You guys can let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the live chat and or replay viewers. The same applies in the comments down below. If you guys haven't already, please make sure to continue hitting that like and subscribe button on your way in. It really does mean a lot, and thank you guys for doing exactly that as we continue and break down more of this ball game, everybody, because we're not done yet. And the 8th inning, the Mets said we're going to add more runs because you can never have enough insurance, especially after how the bullpen would be a blunder the way that they were. Brett Baty getting on with a leadoff single. Then Cedric Mullins hits his second extra base hit of the ball game. I said he had 2 doubles earlier. I lied. He had a triple and a double. So there you go. Even better than what I initially stated. Cedric Mullins with his 23rd double of the year, everybody. Puts runners at second and third, less than 2 out. What happens? Hayden mother effing Sanger is what happens. 1 in doubt, Sanger out, everybody. Sanger rips another big single, and it drives in a pair of runs. The Mets tack on and now have themselves an 11-2 lead. But the story here is Hayden Sanger, who hadn't had more than a single RBI in his young career, easily puts up a 3 RBI day against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. We're going to take that victory for what it is. Afterwards, everybody, Juan Soto said, let's add on even more there. After a while, pitch by Dylan Dodd, which allowed Sanger to get in the scoring position. Juan Soto would go ahead and drive in Sanger with his next big hit, an RBI single to make it a 12-2 Mets lead. Juan Soto now on the RBIs this season, everybody, has a total of, yes, you guessed it, 76 now on the year. So Soto is well in line to have himself a 90-plus RBI year. Hopefully we can get him closer to 100 if we can really get him hot over the next couple weeks before the season ends. That'd be great. And he is on base for 41 home runs, which again is a career high that he sustained a year ago there with the New York Yankees, which is exactly in hand with why the Mets bought into him because of a great season like what we saw there in Milwaukee with the Yanks. Soto is putting up eerily similar numbers. Again, it really comes down to that ability with the clutch gene because Soto has not been there consistently with runners in scoring position. But the crazy thing, guys, is that when we talk about the Mets with runners in scoring position, they're finally doing something there. And in case you guys are unaware, entering tonight's ball game, everybody, the Mets were batting .296 as a team collective batting average since July 1st with runners in scoring position. As crazy as this is to say, let me relay, that is 3rd highest in Major League Baseball. No, it doesn't need to make sense. The Mets have been as Jekyll and Hyde as possible this year. But what does it show? It's the ebbs and flows of a 162. It shows that even with how bad a team can be statistically in a certain regard, that it is not necessarily going to be a forever thing. That's encouraging. That's great to see. But we need to see more of that, to say the least. If the Mets can get this consistency going with hitting with runners on base, let alone in scoring position, then they're going to have one less big domino to check off to make sure that they have right. Then the focus comes down completely on the rotation and completely on the bullpen. If this offense can finally perform consistently the way that they're supposed to throughout the course of the season, then they can really amplify, making sure they get the job done in those other respective areas that are currently hurting this Mets team. As we continue on, everybody, the Mets have a 10-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Reed Garrett's in. What does Reed Garrett do? He gives up a leadoff double to Nacho Alvarez Jr. Then we would see Jurickson Profar bolts down first base, gets on with an infield single that he dives out to first. Because, listen, Jurickson Profar might have missed 80 games with PEDs and definitely was a wrench into the Braves' terrible 2025 season. But now that he's back, he's like, let's go out and ball out and do the best that I can. So, not for lack of effort there by Profar, he makes it a 12-3 ball game. Then with 2 outs, Ronald Acuna Jr. makes it a 12-4 ball game, but that does it for the inning. The Mets are still up 12-4 as we then head to the bottom of the 9th. Because in the bottom of the 9th, here comes Ryan Helsley, and he gives up a leadoff walk to Marcell Ozuna. He gets a fly out on Drake Baldwin. He then gives up a double to Ozzy Albies, so there's runners at second and third there, less than 2 out. Nacho Alvarez with a fly out. It's 2 outs. All Ryan Helsley needs is to get the final effing out of the ball game. Instead, he would give up a single to Vidal Brujan that makes it a 12-5 ball game. And then to make matters even worse, Jurickson Profar, who again had an RBI an inning ago, backs it up with his 10th double of the season to make it a 12-7 ball game. Just like that, with all fans no longer in attendance in Atlanta between the rain and also them just saying there's no chance we come back today. Well, folks, just like that, the Braves are within 5. And that might seem crazy, but at the same time, guys, 2 innings prior, the Braves were down by 10. So in the snap of a finger, they cut the lead in half. That is why you have to make sure you ball out until the final out. Ryan Helsley was dog water today, batting practice. And if it wasn't for him making a nice play there on a comebacker for Matt Olson, who knows what happens for the continuation of that inning. But folks, the Mets go on to win this one by a final score of 12-7. Tito with the $5 holla. Thank you so much for that, Tito. Tito states the following: I'm happy we won, but this bullpen is, outside of Soto and Diaz, is a big concern. Well, no. It's not just Soto and Diaz. Brooks really is a dog. Tyler Rogers has not been great, but I have faith in Tyler Rogers. I think he'll be fine. Like, Rogers, I'm not overly concerned by. He just needs to make sure he's not throwing meatballs down the pipe when he's not even throwing beyond 80 miles per hour on his certain pitches, right? He's a submariner. Take advantage of being a submariner. Take advantage of that the way you have your whole career and stop throwing batting practice to these guys and start to get their asses chased down and away, up and in, whatever you got to do. Again, it's really hard to have a rising fastball as a submariner, yet he has it. Utilize it. Actually take advantage of how good of a pitcher you actually are, Tyler Rogers, because it looks like you're just trying to get in a proper groove more than anything else. So, when we talk about the bullpen comes down to 3 liabilities right now. It's Ryan Stanek, obviously, after being dog water yet again yesterday. It's Ryan Helsley, and it's Reed Garrett. That's the 3-headed monster of a bullpen problem for the Mets right now. Can Reed Garrett get you outs? Yes. But do you want Reed Garrett in high leverage right now? No, you don't, because he's not proven the consistency this season. When you look at Ryan Helsley, does he have electric stuff on paper? Undoubtedly. But he should be one of the best relievers in baseball right now. Instead, we're looking at a guy who's been batting practice. And yes, I am forgetting about Frankie Montas because it's very easy to forget about a guy who's been nothing short of ass for this Mets team since we've signed him. I got to be honest with you. It's been really easy to forget about Frankie Montas because if you guys haven't noticed, since the Mets have moved him to the bullpen, they have done everything, and I mean everything, in their power to try to avoid utilizing him. It's almost like the Mets are just letting $17+ million rot away this year because they know they made a mistake. David Stearns learned from this lesson. Steve with a $5 holla in the month of August, and this is actually the stat I was going to relay, Steve, so I'm so glad you did this for me. I didn't even get a chance to do it yet, but let's go ahead actually, and let's jump ahead and talk about the offense, everybody, because again, you get a hit, you get a hit, you get a hit, you get a hit. It was a hit parade there at Citi Field, not Citi Field, felt like Citi Field, because there were more Mets fans, at least we heard, and the Apple TV game with Wayne Randazzo doing a great job there with the play-by-play as always. Love to see that. And Dontrell Willis, they did a solid job today. I didn't think they were a problem. Shout out Wayno and shout out to Apple TV. I know that it gets a lot of flack. I low-key like Apple TV because they have the best visuals in baseball. No doubt. The best actual type of presentation of a game with transitions goes to S&Y and all the great work that John, I'm going to butcher his last name, but I believe, you know what I'm going to say. John DeMar something. Going to butcher it, though. He's brilliant because he's a movie guru. However, Apple, when actually looking at the type of cameras that they use, have the best video quality, and I do like them a lot for that. And I love Wayne Randazzo. I've always liked the guy. Never had an issue with him whatsoever. So, guys, when we break down the Mets offense, let's go ahead and do it together. We see Francisco Lindor win a big 3-hit game. All these hits, mind you, were to lead off an inning, which I thought was so sick. 265 average and a 797 OPS. Juan Soto, 4 RBI day. Dane Don, 32nd of the year, 251 average, 886 OPS. Then we see star-studded Sterling Marte, 279 average, 784 OPS. Love to see that. Again, batting 280 is sleep per usual. The Polar Bear, Pete Alonso had 6 at-bats today, only had 1 hit. I know, I'm as surprised as you are. 262 average, 851 OPS for Pete. Vientos had 1 hit, but it was a quality one, an RBI opposite field double, and that made it at that time, at least I think it was a 6-1 lead, but don't quote me on it. Vientos, 232 average, 661 OPS. Ronnie Mauricio, 0 for 1, 228 average, 679 OPS as he came in later on in the ball game. Brett Beatty, 4 for 6, 3 RBIs. You're spoiling me, Brett. You're spoiling me here. 249 average, 750 OPS. Tyrone Taylor, 3 for 5. You're spoiling me too, Tyrone. Finally back above the Mendoza line, baby. 206 average, 559 OPS. Cedric Mullins, not 1 but 2 extra base hits, a triple and a double. A couple RBIs. Mullins, 3 for 4 today. 231 average, 732 OPS. Hayden Senger, 2 for 5, 3 RBIs, a $185 on the average, and a 415 OPS, but that's okay. Going back to Brett the Hitman himself, everybody. I'm going to let my guy Steve Long, great member here and follower on the platform, relay the following stats because, guys, Steve stated the following. In the month of August, Brett Beatty is now hitting 386 with a 449 on base and a 682 slug for a 1,131 OPS. Maybe he's becoming the player the Mets thought he was. Painful journey. It has been a painful journey in the case of Brett a little bit, but he's figuring it out. And Brett Beatty has it over 860 OPS for over a calendar month now. So going beyond just the first 3 weeks of August, Brett Beatty has been batting quality for over a month now. And this is the greatest offensive stretch that Brett Beatty has ever had as a New York Met. Has that clicked for you guys yet? Has it clocked for you guys yet? Shout out to Beebs if you know there. But in all seriousness, getting this kind of production from Beatty has been vital because the Mets have been needing some type of consistency in the bottom of their order. If they don't get consistency with the young guns, they're going to have literally nothing. Nada. Zip. Nothing to show. Between Singer having a 3-hit game, between Cedric Mullins having a multi-hit game and a couple RBIs, Tyrone Taylor a 3-hit game, Brett Beatty with the 4-piece, you really can't ask for much more. So major shout out to this entire offensive effort by the Mets tonight. It doesn't come often. I'm not expecting the Mets to go out anytime soon to hit 21 hits again and score 12 runs. I hope it happens again as soon as tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, but I'll have to see it to believe it. So for tonight, I will appreciate this dominant victory for what it was, everybody. And the Mets in this one, when it came to hitting with runners in scoring position, yeah, quality. 8 for 18, and they still left 12 on base. The Mets were 8 for 18. Do you realize how good that is? Over the past calendar month, the Mets have one other game in which they were just absurd with runners in scoring position, and that was a game, I'm blanking as to when, like what victory that was. It was over the past 2 weeks, but they had 9 hits with runners in scoring position. So this is right up there with the best that we have seen from this Mets team, heading for quality. But let's not forget the context, because I do think it is important. We faced who? We faced Wentz, we faced Eric Fetty, and we faced Dylan Dodd, okay? And Dylan Dodd was the only guy to go with scoreless inning against the Mets today for the most part, when Dylan Dodd was also the only good pitcher the Mets saw today. There is connections there for sure. So do not get it twisted. Was this a great, big victory for the Mets today? Yes. However, do not look at this and think that it's anything more currently than fool's gold. And the reason why I say that is because the Mets have to do this fairly consistently. And I'm not saying they have to go out and score 12 runs a game, but they have to go out and show that they actually have life, actually have a moxie, and actually have a I give a shit mentality for a change for more than just 24 to 48 hours. And the Mets can show that here in Atlanta against the Braves, regardless on how bad they are this season. The Mets just lost their last series of the Braves, so it has nothing to do really about the current product of the teams that they're facing, as it has far more to do with the Mets and what they're actually going to do themselves. It's vital. It's more important now than ever that the Mets can go out there and prove that they can consistently win. So that's why I tell you guys, enjoy this victory for what it was. It was electric. There were so many great things about it, headlined by Noel Mlan's dominance today. But do not look at this and think that, oh my God, the boys are all the way back. You can go with that mentality, and that's okay. Kudos to you. But I think you're going to set yourself up for failure because it's really going to come off of like fool's gold of the Mets go ahead and then lose 3 of their next 4 games or lose 3 of their next 5 games. The point is, if they cannot find consistency, they are going nowhere this season. So even after a big victory, that needs to be reiterated, because I can't go screaming my head off basically nightly the past 2 weeks and then act like it's all sunshine and rainbows today without still understanding the greater picture at hand. We all know it. We've all seen it. Now the boys just have to go out again and prove it. As we see here in the chat, guys, again, thank you so much for hitting that like and subscribe button on your way in. I really do appreciate it. We're breaking down all the latest Mets land as the Mets took down the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta by a whopping final score here of 12-7. Let's see here. Just discovered Helsley's childhood team was the Cardinals, so he might be acting out. That's kind of crazy if that's actually true, Zach. I was unaware of that. Should that be true? Very interesting. Yeah, maybe he is acting out if that's the case. If he's actually traded from his childhood favorite team. Kind of nuts. Kind of nuts. When you give up 7 runs, you don't win too many of those games. Yeah, you don't. You most certainly don't. And that's why the offense had to come out big time consistently today, say the least. And Mauricio doesn't stink as a player. I disagree with that, Danny. Mauricio stinks from the right side. And Mauricio also stinks when he's playing like once or twice a week, when it's really hard to develop young talent not getting consistent playing time. Mark Vientos said it bluntly and clearly leading up to the deadline how much it hurt him, and his game has continued to hurt him really get in a flow state of things because he doesn't know how much or how little he's playing on a nightly basis. And I get it, it's the bigs. You got to step up when called upon. That's how it goes. But in the case of Mauricio, again, Buddy's had such a limited sample size and he's barely being utilized. When he has that stretches of brilliance, it's lasted for 48 to 72 hours, then they bench him for 48 hours again. So it's really hard to get that flow going for a young, impressionable player like him when he still has clearly more work to do. He looks like a ceiling fan from the left side as well. Ronnie is a better batter from the left side. Let's not act like Ronnie doesn't have raw tools and potential. He absolutely does. I'm not saying he's polished by any stretch because he's far from it. But my point here again, if the Mets did not have the infield logjam that they did, and if Ronnie Mauricio was playing every day, yes, you would be seeing some bad Ronnie Mauricio baseball, but you would also be seeing Ronnie Mauricio baseball that's better than anything that he's done yet this season, with the exception of that one huge dominant game against the San Francisco Giants that we saw earlier this year. Give me 1 second, everybody. Let me know if you have any specific comments, questions, or concerns that you guys want to relay in the live chat. I would really appreciate that. I'm gonna double check right now to make sure that I don't miss any fun stats I want to relay your way before I cut things off to our replay viewers. So let me go ahead and double check and do exactly that, everybody. As we see here, Ryan Helsley's ERA now is 9.82 as a New York Met. Kind of terrible, not gonna lie. Kind of terrible. Noel Mlan, we talked about him. Again, first time in 76 days that the Mets find themselves actually with a man to Noel Mlan to go 6+ innings of work for the squad outside of David Pearson. You absolutely love to see it. So, to expand more on this, everybody, final thing that I got to say is that when we look at the exit velos, Brett Baty had the hardest hit baseball today that we saw. 112 off the bat. Francisco Lindor, 107. Juan Soto, 107. We saw Tyrone Taylor, 105 as well. But Brett Baty, another big game. Baty hit a baseball 115 miles per hour just a couple nights ago. Now Brett Baty just smoked 112. Baty's hardest hit baseball of his career, especially for a home run there that we saw, was that other night. That was also the longest home run the Mets have hit. This second longest this season, and the longest of his career at 455 feet. Kind of a big deal. Brett Baty's not only looking good, but he's finding it, and he's constantly barreling baseballs. Insane. Wardy, your inspiration is going to lead me to bankruptcy. Pat, stop donating then. Stop donating. Thank you so much for the $5 haul, though. All jokes aside, you're a beauty, Pat. I appreciate you. Thank you guys again all so much for relaying all your thoughts, questions, and concerns in the live chat. Let's go ahead and answer those for the next 5 to 10 minutes before I get out of here. But everyone watching on replay, let me know your key takeaways, thoughts, and analysis in the comments down below. The Mets winning this one by a final score 12-7, and we will see you all next time for more Mets content here on the platform. This is your guy, Wardy, signing out. People watching live, let's continue. People on replay, this is where we're cutting things off.